Aiyo, this face, I cannot say. You want to pop me and say no? Okay, let me get some sugar too. Someone put a gun to my head to say this. Hi everyone, so welcome back to another episode of How Now Taobao, and today we are gonna finally be talking about a highly requested video, which is the third party forwarders, also known as 3PF. So if you have seen our Instagram or even our YouTube videos, you know that we order a lot of large furniture like our table, our sofa, our bed frame, and a lot of people have been asking like, oh, how do you ship it over? How do you do the 3PF? So today we're gonna share about our experience using Guangzhou Hongyu, which is one of the two third-party forwarders that I use. Also, just a disclaimer that we are not sponsored by anyone, so we are doing this video like as it is as an honest review. Okay, so one of the questions I commonly get is how do you choose your third-party forwarders, or why do you use Guangzhou Hongyu to begin with? So firstly, one reason was because I was in this Taobao group and I saw a lot of people recommending it, so it came with pictures of their delivery, reviews of how the process was smooth and everything. So that was a assurance for me to know that, you know, this is not a scammer like company, the goods arrive properly. And some of the people who use the company, right, they also bought large furniture. So since I was gonna buy that, so that was more reassuring as well. Okay, secondly, it's a reasonable pricing also. So as most of y'all might know or might not, before, when I was using it like early last year, the prices were very reasonable. So it was pretty cheap, and maybe 1 cubic meter, 1 cbm could be like maybe 300-400 renminbi. But ever since there was a hype of freight forwarding, it went up to like 600. But before that, the pricing was very reasonable. It was great because you get save money, right? Thirdly, there was no storage time limit, so I double checked with them because I was so like skeptical about it, and that was very important for us because when we're doing the renovations, as you all know, sometimes renovation timelines get pushed back. You don't know when you should send your items over, so it's always better to have the house ready and done before sending all your items over. So that was a huge take for us in our list. And lastly, their communication method was via Facebook Messenger. Some of the other third-party forwarders that I saw, they mainly use WeChat. Through Facebook Messenger, they actually communicate through English, so that was easy for me. Communication was great because I could easily clarify with them, and response was fine. And also creating a WeChat account might be a little bit tricky because of verification and all. So because of the mentioned pointers, that's why we decided to choose Guangzhou Hongyu as the first third-party forwarders that we use for like our house renovation items. Okay, so how was the actual experience like with them when we actually used them? So for pre-shipment, actually everything ran very smoothly. They were very patient in teaching me how to do the process of creating an account, how to set up on the Taobao site. So you can check out other video, but a brief rundown is that firstly, you chat out with them, you get a unique user ID with the address, and then you will have to fill up Excel sheet indicating the items that you have purchased, declaring the pricing of it so that they can charge you GST after. Yeah, so there was quite a bit of back and forth, especially because it's kind of in Chinese, and since it was my first time using it and there were so many items that I bought, I had to key in a lot of things into the Excel. So they were very patient with me, so everything was quite a good experience pre-shipment. Okay, but one note with that said is that if you the Excel sheet could be quite tedious, so if you know you're someone who is not maybe very detail oriented, or you have absolutely no idea on how to navigate Excel, this might be a bit tricky for you. So yeah, just a heads up. Okay, so what about the shipment period? So after you kind of tell them to say, okay, I want to ship out my items from their warehouse to Singapore, they will actually provide you some details of like payment. So you have to pay for the shipping plus your GST, and then you just have to wait basically. Unlike like air shipment, right, where there's like tracking, you know when it arrives in the port and all, you don't really get that for the sea shipment. So it's kind of like a Kinder Bueno surprise kind of thing, I guess. Like you never know when it's gonna happen. Then one day they'll just call you and say, hey, your container is in Singapore already, tomorrow we ship to you, cannot. Yeah, so it's a bit last minute lah. But generally, this is how it works across all the third-party forwarders. Usually, at most, I'll get like 1 to 2 days advance notice. Unless I really cannot make it, then I'll try and postpone the delivery with them. But I do know that for some third-party forwarders, if you postpone it too long and they have to hold it in their warehouse past their stated period, they will actually charge you a fee. So yeah, just something to note. Okay, so based on my experience, right, from the order send date, so that means I tell them to ship it out, to when I'm invoiced. So when I'm invoiced means that it has reached Singapore port, it takes about 10 days. But that was when like the freight industry was very smooth processing, but generally they will tell you it takes about 2 weeks, so that's quite a good estimate. Yeah, but then there was one time where it got quite bad. It actually took 23 days, so that was almost a month of not hearing from them, not getting updates. So it was quite frustrating. They were not responding on Facebook Messenger, and in their group I saw many other people like chasing them as well. So perhaps they were overwhelmed with a lot of orders, so it's really a 2 to 3 weeks kind of thing in general. Yeah, okay, so for delivery, as I mentioned earlier, they usually give a 1 day notice. So if they call you today, they'll ask to deliver tomorrow. That's one. And it is a door-to-door delivery, so that means that if they are able to load it up onto the lift and send it to your house at the doorstep, they would. But I do know of some people who, let's say they purchase a long sofa, so what they'll have to do is to either one, pay the workers like extra money to get them to carry up the staircase for them, or two, they actually look for some of the estate workers and ask them whether they are able to help, and then they give them like money as well lah. In terms of the delivered goods, right, so far all my delivery goods have been in okay condition. Like sometimes you have the carton boxes maybe a bit tattered, a bit torn. Sometimes you see the holes eaten by rats. But that's fine, it's okay. I've not one that was severely damaged. But if you're wondering what happens if it's damaged, I think it can get a bit complicated because there are two ways that it could have gone wrong. It could have gone wrong at the third-party forwarder side or at the local delivery in China. So it's a bit tough, and I'm glad I have not touched on that, but hope you don't have to as well. Okay, so how many times have I used Guangzhou Hongyu? I used them for a total about six shipments, probably about 6 cubic meters worth of items, because of the house renovation and all. But I have stopped using them as of now. I'm using another one, and these are the few reasons why. Okay, so firstly, because they use an Excel sheet method, which means I have to key in each line item. So every single item that I buy, I have to key in. There was one time I bought like over 70 over packages, which means one package could have more than one item. So let's say minimally there's 2. I probably had 140 items. Oh man, it was so tiring. I was like, and for me, I would consider myself quite proficient and comfortable with Excel, but that was super tiring for me. And I told myself if I'm ever gonna order that much again, I will not be using Guangzhou Hongyu, because then I'm worried that I will make the mistake and might leave a parcel out. So that's one. Number 2, so like I mentioned earlier, right, I had one shipment that took like 23 days, which was almost a month. And it felt like their response time was getting longer and longer. Perhaps they were getting more popular. So because of that, I felt like they weren't very reliable, or like maybe I kanchiong lah. I cannot wait so long for the shipment. So because of that, then that's why I decided to find another third-party forwarder. But if you're able to wait, and I think now because the COVID situation has kind of settled, so I think shipping is actually quite steady now. And I'm actually considering going back to them for like smaller CBM items, like let's say 0.5. So with that said, you might be thinking, then should I be using Guangzhou Hongyu, or who should be using it? So here are my recommendations. 1, if you are not comfortable communicating in Chinese, then communicating via Facebook Messenger in English is a very good option for you and a good place to start at. Then you can ensure that you do not have any miscommunication. Secondly, if you're able to, or if you're willing to put in more effort into your Excel sheet and to key in them, right, actually Guangzhou Hongyu prices are very competitive and value for money. No doubt that they are cheaper than quite a few other 3PS out there, but I guess it comes at a price of having to input your own Excel sheet lah. And then 3, if you don't have a large amount of items, then it's a good alternative to go for, because some third-party forwarders require a minimum of 1 cubic meter. But if I don't remember wrongly, Guangzhou Hongyu allows you to like go from 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. So that gives a bit more leeway for smaller size orders. Okay, so lastly, because there is no time limit storage, it's really good for homeowners who are looking to renovate your house and you're buying furniture. Mainly because, like what I mentioned previously, how you never know when renovations timelines are, and if you send it over and your renovation is delayed, let's say your unit isn't ready, or let's say your contractors are not done doing the flooring, then you're gonna be in a huge dilemma of what to do with all the parcels. Well, finding a good 3PF can be quite a headache, but liking our video and subscribing to us is a breeze, and it's free also. So help us out, like our video and comment if you have any questions about third-party orders. We are very glad to answer to your queries, even though we are not like representatives of them, but we can share our experience. So if you'd like to find out how to create an account with Guangzhou Hongyu and the process of doing it, do check out our other video. So we'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye!